Hello, for today's lesson, we'll be looking at hardware, software, and peripheral devices, but we'll talk more about hardware components. Last week, we were able to know what energy efficient gadgets are. We made mention of those gadgets, and we said they are gadgets that are designed to minimize the consumption of energy or electricity. We made mention of bulbs, smart sockets, and the rest. But today we'll be looking at what a hardware component is. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify and describe the basic hardware component of a computer. When we say a hardware, we are referring to the part of the computer that can be seen by the user and can be touched. The component of the computer that can be seen by the user and can be touched. And I hope you are familiar with some of these components. So when you say hardware, we are referring to the physical component of the computer that can be seen and can be touched, or the tangible part of the computer. So for computer hardware, we can group them into two main categories. We have the external hardware component, then we have the internal hardware component. When you say external hardware component, we are referring to the parts of the computer that are visible, the ones we normally see. Then when we refer to the internal ones as the ones that are inside the system unit, those ones cannot be seen unless you open the computer system unit case. So all the parts of the computer that are found inside the system unit are what we refer to as internal hardware components. Then the other ones that are attached to the system unit are what we refer to as external components. Now I hope you can mention some of these external components attached to the system unit. These devices are also referred to as the peripheral devices. They are mostly attached to the system unit to help enhance its performance. Now let's look at some basic examples of computer hardware. First, we'll look at the system unit. So the system unit is the component of the computer that contains all the electronic components of any computer system. The system unit contains some components of the computer which are referred to as internal components. So as I explained earlier, I said internal components are found in the system unit, and the system unit houses all those components. If you want to turn on a computer, we normally press a button on a device, and that device is what we call the system unit. Without the system unit, you cannot turn on the computer. Now let's look at the other basic hardware components of the computer. Before that, we'll look at some pictures of a system unit. So we have this one to be a system unit. I hope most of you are familiar with this component of the computer. We have this one to be the tower because it stands like a tower. Then we have the flat one that lies on tables. We refer to that one as a desktop. So for system unit, we have two main types. We have the one that stands vertical, known as the tower, and the one that lies flat on a table. That one is the desktop or the desktop system unit. Now let's look at the other component. We have the monitor. The monitor is also a visual display unit, and this monitor is to display information for the user to see. And I hope some of you are familiar with monitors. Even in our home, some uses the monitor to watch television or uses the television as a monitor. So the main function of this device is to display the information being processed by the CPU inside the system unit. For monitors, we have two main types of monitor, and the first one is the liquid crystal display monitor, or the LCD monitor. Then we have the cathode ray tube monitor. You can also refer to that one as CRT monitor. The difference between these two monitors is that the LCD monitors are flat. They have flat screens, and their body are not all that heavy. They do not occupy more space when you place them in your room or on a table. When you come to the cathode ray tube monitor, this is a monitor that takes a large space when it's being placed on a table, and it's being designed by using a cathode ray tube. It's very heavy compared to that of the LCD, but in terms of buying, the LCD is more expensive than the cathode ray tube. The cathode ray tube is mostly the olden types of monitors that was used in the olden days. So we'll have a look at these types of monitors. So we have this to be the flat panel, or the LCD monitor. As we can see over here, when you look at the size, it's very flat, and you can see it will be light in weight. Then we have at this side the CRT monitor. At times some people refer to it as etikopo in our local language. So as we can see, it's having a bulky back. When you compare it to the LCD, you can see that the CRT will be heavier. Now let's go to the other basic hardware component of the computer. We have the computer mouse. The computer mouse. This is also a component of the computer that is normally used to control the movement of cursor or the mouse pointer on the monitor screen. Most of the time when you on our computers, we see a white arrow. That's what we refer to as the mouse pointer or the cursor. And before this arrow or cursor can be controlled, unless you hold and drag the mouse or move the mouse to a certain direction. So the computer mouse is a handheld device. It's being held in the hand before you can use it. The mouse is also an input device as the keyboard. So let's look at some types of computer mouse. We have the first one to be the mechanical mouse, and this is an olden type of mouse. It's having a ball beneath or under it, which controls the movement of the cursor. Now we have the next one to be the track ball. That one too has a ball beside it that can be used to control the cursor. Now we have the optical or the laser mouse. This type of mouse uses laser, as we can see below. It uses laser as aid sensor to control the movement of the mouse. So without a sensor at the bottom over here, the mouse cannot function, because the sensor that controls the movement or indicate the movement of the pointer. Now let's go to the other types of mouse. We have this wireless mouse. A wireless mouse means a mouse that does not have a cord or a cable connected to it. It uses wireless technology to control the movement of the cursor, either by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Then we have the touch pad. The touch pad is also an example or a type of mouse, but this type of mouse is normally seen with computers like laptops. So on our laptops we have this type of mouse. You just move your hand on the touchpad over here, then we have the buttons over here. We have the left and the right button over here, as we can see on the wireless mouse. Now let's look at other basic hardware components of the computer. We have the computer keyboard. we have the computer keyboard. The keyboard looks similar to the typewriter, which was used in the olden days in typing. So the keyboard is also a component of the computer that is used to feed the computer with data. When we say data, we are referring to the raw facts being fed into the computer. So this can be in the form of numbers, letters, and symbols. And those are the three things that we see on computer keys: either a number, a letter, or a symbol. So the keyboard is used to feed the computer with data in the form of these characters: numbers, letters, and symbols. The keyboard is also an input device. When you say input device, we are referring to devices that feeds or sends data into the computer. Now let's have a look at some types of computer keyboard. We have the first one to be the wireless keyboard, as we have wireless mouse. This type of keyboard is also cordless, does not have a cable, so it uses a wireless technology, either by Bluetooth connection, Wi-Fi connection, or infrared connection, to work with the computer. Now when we come here, we have the virtual keyboard, and this is a keyboard that we normally launch on our computers. This is not a hardware, but we can see it on our computer screen. It also works the same as the normal keyboard. Then we have the ergonomics keyboard. This keyboard is designed in such a way that all the keys are being grouped or split into different layouts. It involves the use of our two hands in typing. So as we can see, the keys has been split into different parts compared to that of the wireless keyboard. You can see that all the keys are arranged in order, but for the ergonomic, the keys are being split into different sections, and this one involves the use of the two hands in typing. This keyboard is designed in such a way that when we are using it, it reduces the pain that we have in our muscles when it comes to typing. Then when you come below here, we have the flexible keyboard. This type of keyboard can be folded, as the name appears, flexible. It can be folded and put into a bag. It also performs the same function as the other keyboards, but this one is designed in such a way that if your computer is faulty, or if you are carrying a laptop which is having a faulty keyboard, you can just fold it and put it inside of your bag so that you can use it at any place that you want. To end our lesson here, for today, we saw the four main basic components of the computer. We made mention of the system unit, the keyboard, the mouse, and the monitor. We saw the types of mouse that we have. We have the mechanical mouse, we have the optical mouse, we have the trackball, the touchpad, and so on. Then for the system unit, we said we have two main types of system units. We have the desktop, then we have the tower. For keyboard, we saw the wireless keyboard, we saw the virtual keyboard, we have the mechanical keyboard, and so on. Before you leave, I want you to do this exercise and submit on your website. The first one is, what is a computer hardware? And I hope you can do that one. I hope within our lesson I introduce you to what a hardware is. So you should be able to write what a hardware is. And the second one, you list 4 basic hardware components of the computer. An example is the system unit. Then 3, you draw any 2 basic hardware components of the computer. So after this, you upload them on your website. Thank you. For next week, we'll be looking at the internal hardware components of the computer. And we said these are the components that can be seen inside the system unit. So you prepare well for next week's lesson on internal hardware components of the computer. Thank you. Bye.